Well, we're so looking forward to the action kicking off very soon. Josh Paris not with us this week because he is competing elsewhere, but Emily Appleton, winner of week one, certainly is. Joining me now, courtside Gigi, Sam and Gigi, back for another weekend of UK Pro League. Excited for it all to kick off?
Very excited and very happy to say that it's a little bit warmer than week one, which is not just good for the players, but I think for everyone involved. But it's great. We've got a lot of the people that played in week one. We've got some new faces, maybe some new rivalries to say. And already Monday to Friday, we've seen some great matches.
We have indeed. You mentioned new faces. How much does it mean to them to be in, the last four? Because it's more points, it's more prize money.
Yeah, we've got some new faces in those final four. We've got Emily Appleton, the winner of week one. You mentioned that Josh Paris isn't here. It's huge because a big part of the UK Pro League, it's not just the 7 matches in 7 days, which is a test in itself for, I think, anybody's body at any level. But it's also making money to enable them to get back out on the road. Josh Paris, he's out, he's abroad, he's playing again. And they kept highlighting how important it is. And the higher up you finish, the more money you'll make.
Well, certainly a couple of weeks ago, I keep saying 1 week ago, but it has been 2 weeks, of course, since the conclusion of week one. And certainly semi-final day was absolutely fantastic. We called it Super Saturday for a reason because every single match went down to a championship tiebreak. These players are playing for a lot right now. There's a lot at stake.
Yeah, there is. And I think whenever you play your peers, there's something a little bit added extra. These guys know each other so well. We've got the new players in this week who are trying to make their mark. It's about competing. You can practice, but nothing replicates the match court. They want to make a name for themselves. And above all, they want to be in finals week, which is in early November. They've got 8 weeks to get the points, to get the prizes and to get that finals week in November.
Of course, that is the 9th week of UK Pro League. That is what every single player is playing for. But right now, it is semi-finals day of week 2. We can take a look at the order of play because there are some fantastic matches coming up. First of all, Anton Matusevich will take on Sean Hodkin. Matusevich been in emphatic form this week, the highest ranked player in the men's draw, not dropped a set en route to the semi-final. Of course, semi-finalist of week one, he is looking to go one better. Then the first women's semi-final, Emily Appleton on a 12-match winning streak has been undefeated in UK Pro League 2021 so far. She is up against Alice Gillen, who has made the semi-finals for the very first time. She came second in her group. Then following that, the second men's semi-final, Mark Whitehouse, 7th in week one, but he topped Pool B. So in some great form, Mark Whitehouse against the well-known Dan Cox, semi-finalist of week one. He was second in his group, undefeated in his group stage in week one. Then finally, rounding things off, Beth Gray, top group one, finalist of course of week one. She will take on Elise Maloney, who beat Freya Christie, the top-ranked female player, on day 3 to secure her spot in the semi-finals. Well, Gigi, just looking at that order of play, it looks to be very interesting indeed. Do you think for those who were here in the semi-finals a week or so ago, that experience is going to bode well for them?
I should do. Even coming back to playing this amount of matches day after day after day, they've learned what worked, they've learned that haven't. Maybe it brings with a little bit of extra pressure because they've been in this situation before. They want to go one step further. They want to reach tomorrow's final because, as I say, they're playing for points and prizes. But for me, I want to find out how their bodies reacted to week one and anything they may have changed to get themselves ready to go at it again.
Exactly. Well, my body has reacted relatively well to week one, I think.
It's good to know.
Well, it's now time to get the players on to the court. First of all, the highest ranked player in the men's side of the draw, Anton Matusevich. 19 years old from Kent, trains at the NTC, ranked 570 in the world. Of course, the top ranked player in the draw this week. British number 16 lost in the semi-finals to Billy Harris of week one, but he has not dropped a set so far in week 2. And he will be taking on a man who qualified second in his group, Sean Hodkin. 22 years old, lives in Sheffield, trains in Lincoln and Leeds. 9th overall in week 1. Qualified for the semi-finals in second place with 3 fantastic wins for him. It's great to have both guys on the court now, and Gigi coming back in to chat about exactly how this match may unfold. On paper, Anton Matusevich is the favourite. He got to the semi-finals of week 1. Pressure on him today?
There is a little bit of pressure because he's the higher ranked of the two, but I actually think he quite likes the pressure. This is the guy that relaxes in the evening by doing maths, advanced maths, further maths, which I didn't even know existed. He's taking an online degree alongside his tennis. He seems to like that pressure. He seems to like that expectation on him. Some people wilt, he doesn't. What we have seen from Matusevich in week 1, and you wonder if you have to lower your voice when you're speaking about them and they're so close to you, is that he did lose a little bit of focus and when things weren't going his way. But yet he is expected to win. You mentioned he hasn't dropped a set all week. Sean Hodkin going from the position last week, knowing that the worst he's going to finish is 4th, and that's ranking points and that's prize money. He's got the one win over Matusevich. That was back, I think, when Matusevich was about 16 at a Futures event. So he knows what it's like to beat him. But they've travelled very different paths since then, so no pressure on Sean. And as you say, all the pressure on Matusevich.
In terms of talking about Matusevich's concentration, that was something certainly in week 1. He did dip here or there, but not having lost a set this week, that really sends a big message to his opponents.
Yeah, it's going to do wonders, and it'll be interesting to know, to speak to him, to find out what he took away from week 1, because we do know if things don't go his way, if someone gets under his skin, if the game plan doesn't work, then it can really all fall apart. And we just saw that he had done so well through the week, got to the semi-final stage, and he wasn't able to turn it around and keep that focus. But when he zoned in, which he has been, he plays absolutely incredible tennis. And he's got the experience of having played through the juniors. He's won a Grand Slam doubles junior title. He's played some of the senior players. He's played Marton Fucsovics. He's had that taste and that experience of playing at the professional level.
Does that make it more difficult, though, when you're the highest ranked player and you're playing players who are of a lower rank? You're expected to win, and he is expected to win once again today. Is that, as we've said, more pressure?
I think it can be, but at the same time, I think he quite likes that type of pressure. I think he's the type of player that likes the pressure on him, likes the fact that he's the highest ranked player. He wants to be the person coming in saying, hey, I'm the player to me. I think he quite likes that tag. We've seen players who fall under that kind of pressure. They want to go under the radar. They don't want the spotlight on him. But I don't believe that's the case for Matusevich.
And how about Sean Hodkin? Because we mentioned 9th overall in week 1, but what a performance so far. He's guaranteed, no matter what, £2,000 plus £500 appearance fee. That's if he comes 4th. There's a lot up for grabs in this match right here.
That's the wonderful thing about the UK Pro League. It's giving them something you can't get anywhere else, and that is the 7 matches in 7 days and the chance to take away a good sum of money. And it's what all the players refer to. They want to make the money so they can go back on tour and they can compete when the world opens up, and it allows us to. Now, in 2019, Sean set up a Just Giving page. He wanted to raise £3,000 to help him to continue to be a professional tennis player. That is how tough it is for these guys. They're individual contractors. They don't play and they don't get paid. I'm happy to say he nearly reached his target, so he was able to get out and about, and it's enabled him to have the career. And remember, we talk about Matusevich being so young at 19. Sean is just 22 years of age.
Absolutely. It is a young men's semi-final which is about to kick off. We can now head up to the commentary box to Abigail Johnson and Calvin Betton to take you through this match.
Well, here we go then. First semi-final of the day. 4th meeting between Anton Matusevich and Sean Hodkin. But I'm not sure Hodkin will have faced Matusevich quite in this kind of form before. No one wanted to face this guy in the semis. Hasn't dropped a set.
Ladies and gentlemen, this UK Pro League semi-final match consists of 2 tie-break sets. Required a 1-set all, 10-point match tie-break. Sean Hodkin, to the left of the chair, won the toss and elected to serve.
We already knew what Matusevich was about, the big serve, the big forehand. Likes his backhand cross as well. He says it's a consistent shot. He doesn't miss it, which is why that's listed there. Alongside me here, Calvin Betton. You've seen a fair bit of Anton Matusevich, right?
Yeah, nice to be here, Abigail. Yeah, I've seen quite a bit of Anton. I know him relatively well. I know Sean very well as well. So looking forward to see how this one pans out. They've had a couple of close matches, I think, in the past. So Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Anton can continue his rampant form that he's had all week.
Yeah, Hodkin will be a bit disappointed because when he played his last match in the round-robin stage against Oscar Waitman, there was still a chance for him to finish top of the group in Box B. And Matusevich already guaranteed to finish top of the group in Box A, and he would have known, want to win this match, don't want to face Matusevich. And eventually going down in a match tiebreak in that one to Waitman after losing the first set 6-love. But, as we've been saying, Calvin, Matusevich has been on a roll. Hodkin's lost his last couple after winning his opening 3, but it really doesn't matter when you get to Saturday because it's sudden death here. Win or lose, it matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Group 2 was a very strange group as well, wasn't it? It was all over the shop yesterday who could go through, whereas I think in Group 1 it was basically Anton was through and it was either Dan Cox or Billy Harris, whereas I think in Group 2 I think Johnny Gray started the day in 2nd place and ended up the day in 5th. So it was quite tough. But yeah, absolutely. The onus really is on Sean today to bring something different. Anton will be coming in thinking if he plays how he's played the rest of the week, he's going to win this match pretty comfortably, whereas Sean's definitely going to have to do something a bit different to how he normally plays and how everyone else has played against Anton this week. If he comes out and just looks to groove the ball from the baseline, which is how Sean tends to like to play, then Anton's going to be all over that.
One thing's for sure about Hodkin, he's competitive. He's really ramped it up since week 1 of competition. Ultimately finished in 9th place there. And in these semi-finals, he's guaranteed at least a 4th place finish, which is some step up. But as we say, he's got a mighty task on his hands today against the 19-year-old Matusevich, who's on a roll. Can he stop it? That's the big question.
First set, Sean Hodkin to serve. Ready, play. Love 15. All.
No surprise that Hodkin chose to serve here. Wants to keep it on his racket while he can because Matusevich very much a player that can take the game right off your racket and push you behind the baseline.
Yeah, Sean's definitely going to want to get the first strike in as often as he can.
Not a bad example right there.
Yeah, that's the kind of point that Sean's going to want to play, and especially on Anton's service games as well. Sean has a tendency to block his returns, whereas I think he's not going to be able to get away with that today. He's going to have to hit the returns because if he blocks, then Anton's going to get the first strike in the rally, and Anton doesn't lose many points when he gets the first strike. Couple of sloppy errors early from Anton.
40-15.
We did see that in week 1. Sometimes there was a bit of a slow start, and that's what has made his form this week so impressive. The fact that I look back to his win over Dan Cox, which was just lights out brilliant. There was not a dip all the way through. He started quickly, he maintained.
Slightly nervy start from both players, actually.
Big stakes, semi-final.
Yeah.
Penultimate day of the competition here. And that return seems to have just drifted long. Well, you'll notice if you're tuning in here for the first time, no lines judges here and no ball kids due to the pandemic. We're just minimizing the people present on court. The chair umpire can overrule, but the players generally calling their own lines. if you go back to your playing days, Calvin, would that have been difficult? You've probably had the experience of that, having to multitask, having to call your own lines, but stay super focused on the match as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And most of these guys, Sean especially, because Sean plays a lot of British tours, they call their own lines all the time anyway, so it's no change really for Sean. Anton, he played, although he's played a lot of British tours in the last 12 months, but he's normally used to the future circuit more, where he's got a line judge and an umpire, so Sean would probably be more comfortable, but I don't think it's a major problem for either player.
Well, he handled that well, deep up the line from Hodkin.
Yeah, we can see early doors there that Sean's looking to drive that return. That's normally a ball that we may see him chipping in a normal match, but I don't know whether we'll find out whether it's a set tactic he's got that he's going to go after the first serves.
You could see just as the camera panned there, Mark Hilton up on the balcony, keeping a careful eye on Anton Matusevich. Hilton, former coach of the likes of Dan Evans. Oh, hello. Ripped that one.
Yeah, that's important. That's important for Sean. He's sending a message to Anton there that it's not all going to be on Anton's terms. He'll know that if the match is played on Anton's terms, then Anton's winning pretty much every match he plays.
We've seen a lot of wide serves early on from Matusevich. Is there a danger of that becoming predictable?
Possibly. He's very good at that play, though, where he serves wide on the deuce and backhand cross-court, and you'll see him coming into the net on it. He likes a sneak approach, a late approach.
Okay, Matusevich.
Keeping those ground strokes deep early on, Anton Matusevich. And he was serving seconds in his first set yesterday when he was taking on Julian Cash, and Cash so clinical on serve, just kept asking the questions time after time. And Matusevich, he was pretty relaxed, I think, because he knew that he was going through, still wanted to get the full 15 points on offer in the round-robin stage. But he just ripped the ball when he was behind and eventually edged out that set in a tiebreak.
Yeah, I think it's important for Anton to always be on top. What we've seen this week is it's sort of one question left unasked about Anton is how he's going to respond if he is behind in a match, if he's a set down. Last week, I think he lost 2 sets and then he lost the next set after that each time. So it's still a question.
Great angle. And finishes off. He was quick to get on top of that, Hodkin.
Yeah, he's going to... He won that one. I think he's going to have to volley a bit better than that, though, if he's going to keep getting in those positions.
How well did Matusevich do to get underneath that?
For a big guy, Anton's so fast. He moves so well.
Love.
I don't know if it's coming across on the TV for the viewers, but these two are both huge units. They're big guys, very strong guys. They approach it differently, though. Anton's a more powerful player. Sean, he's strong, but I wouldn't say he's powerful in his shots. He tends to sort of try and grind his opponents down with sort of being solid and not missing many balls.
$30-15.
It's a really good body serve from Sean, really tying Anton up there. You can see that he wasn't expecting it.
And that could be key when we think about how Matusevich, he's great on the run and he likes to generate the pace. That just takes the angle away from him. He's not got anything to rip into the way he wants.
Yeah, and he likes set patterns. He likes to know what's going to happen so he can set himself and swing big swings at those balls.
Okay, Hodkin.
With 3 games on the board and 0 breaks of serve. That's exactly what these two would have wanted coming into this. Heading into the changeover, it's 2-1 to Sean Hodkin.
Time.
So the first of the Week 2 semi-finals nicely kicked off here at the UK Pro League.
15 love.
Again, we can see Sean there going after the first serve. He's definitely looking to not let Anton settle into the match and be able to have a third ball that he can just have a swing at and dominate from.
Big strikes from Matusevich. The way he swung into that ball from so far behind the baseline.
It's a really good return as well from Sean. Really caught the back end of the line there. But that's the thing what Anton can do. He can generate power where other players can't. He can sort of turn the point around from being on the defence to the attack in one shot. He's so strong.
40 love.
Wow. Big hitting from Sean there. That's what I was talking about, where he's definitely taking more risks than what he normally would. That's not a standard Sean Hodkin point. That he's definitely going after, trying to get on top of Anton early doors, which is a good tactic in my opinion.
Well, some people think of that one-hander as more attackable, but not this one right now.
Well, this is the thing with Sean. He's so strong. He's so big that he can... Big. Yeah, whereas if he wasn't so strong physically, it'd be easy to attack his one-hand backhand. But he's got so much strength behind it that he does hold out well on it. He holds pace on it well.
Matusevich going in at it there, though, on the serve. Not much you can do about that. And 4 fairly comprehensive service holds to kick this off at a point in the match where at the beginning the players may be hoping the opponent isn't quite warmed up and looking for openings. Haven't been any here.
Yeah, also important, I think, for Sean to get a good start. It would have been difficult if Anton would have just carried on. If he'd have got a break early doors in one of those first 2 games, he would just have carried on his form. So I think it's probably more important for Sean to be sort of on an even keel early doors. If he can get a bit of a lead on serve, it's big for Sean, that. Now, Anton was telling me before the match that he really rates Sean's serve. He thinks it's a good serve and he's had difficulty with it in the past. So there's sort of he's got a lot of respect for it.
2-1 up in the head-to-head. Matusevich lost their first meeting in 2018. All their meetings in the UK, but the first couple on the ITF circuit.
It's good dominant play from Sean there, definitely getting on the front foot. I'm interested to know whether he'll continue that, because it's not his normal game style to play like that. I'm interested to see how long he can carry on playing like that, and whether he carries on doing it under pressure when the match gets tight, or whether he'll revert to type of being more solid, not missing.
Next, for serve. Hodkin.
And it's a love hold.
Hodkin leads by
Hodkin maintaining his early fire on serve. Heading into the sit-down, still no breaks.
time.
Well, in a high-pressure situation, it's great to see these two semi-finalists starting strong. We've seen some highlights already. And here's Matusevich playing catch-up, serving second. Brilliant combination.
And again, for someone who's so big as Anton is, he's really got a lovely touch and really nice feel on the balls. We'll see there. He's a really good volleyer as well.
He chopped that short.
40 love.
And as we say, continuing to use that wide serve, but it's got such drive on it that it doesn't matter if it keeps coming, if it's that good.
If you're going to do a double fault, 40 love's probably the right time to do it.
And we're going to see that from these two, aren't we? With the way they've both come out here looking to attack. They're going to both see second serves as openings.
Yeah.
Haven't seen so many of them, so they're going to go for a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you just said there, Abigail, the second serve is going to be key. The second serve return points, I'd sort of say right now, is the winner of this match will be the player who wins the most highest percentage points on his opponent's second serve. I think the winner will probably see has over 50%, and whoever ends up not winning will be lower than 50% points won on second serves.
Because that's the one key opening here, isn't it? At the moment, they've both been so strong in the other departments and playing first strike tennis here. See if Hodkin can keep it up.
15 love. 30.
It's one of those huge blows that Anton can land there without really needing much of a short ball to hit it off. That was not a bad length ball from Sean. He's just really laid into it. That's the damage that Anton can do.
Well, this is the closest we've really come to seeing a breakpoint chance, a half chance here for Matusevich. He's been driving those ground strokes. And Hodkin might feel a bit of pressure here.
Yeah, he's definitely going to want to see a first serve here.
Cannoned back.
He's not done enough for that first serve though, Sean. He's got to be more accurate than that. That's really straight into Anton's wheelhouse and didn't have a great deal of pace either.
And it might not be any coincidence that it came at that moment, because Matusevich on a string of points here, sensing an opportunity. Chance for the break.
It's a great serve.
That was a rocket.
It's interesting how he's done that. That ball had a good 15, 20 mile an hour more on it than the previous first serve that he hit at Juice.
Adrenaline kicked in.
It's another great first serve from Sean. A lot of pace on that.
Just catching the corner there.
Oh, he's missed it apparently.
Well, who called come on?
I think Sean called come on there.
Well, he must have seen that close.
Yeah.
But not quite close enough, it would appear. So a second chance for Matusevich to get the breakthrough. On the last ball, on the stretch. Oh, you've got to credit the resilience of Hodkin there on the back foot, but Anton must have thought he had that point.
Yeah, you don't see Anton miss many of those volleys. He's tried to be a little bit too cute there. He had a whole court to go into.
One less desperate slice does the job. Well, it's been close at the back end of this one.
Yeah.
Still alive.
It's better serve. He's got a bit more width on that one. Closer to the line. I think Anton will still be a bit disappointed he didn't make a ball out of that though. What's also going to be important in this match as well is when Sean makes his first serves, how good he is on the follow-up shots. He's been a little bit trepidatious on them so far. I think he's going to have to go for them a little bit more than he has done. On the third ball, that is. He's looking to get forehand on the third ball and really go after it. Especially because Sean's not actually the greatest volleyer in the world. He's going to want to do the damage on that third ball. He's not really going to be comfortable coming in and chopping one off at the net.
He won't make the same mistake twice, Matusevich.
Yeah, and we saw there, this is what I was talking about earlier, that Sean just can't stand at the back and look to groove the ball. Anton's going to do that. If that's what he's going to, if that's what Sean's going to try and do, Anton's going to dominate the points. Sean really has to get on top of the points.
Taking advantage there, going back behind, setting up the opening to the forecourt.
That's a classic Anton Matusevich point, that one. Sean's got to cut those on it.
Missed chance.
Yeah, but Anton will be disappointed in that, because again there we see Sean made a first serve and he's back at neutral on ball 4. That's Sean really, without wishing to labour in the point, Sean really can't get into that situation too often. He needs to use his serve to get on top of the point and get the first strike, but Anton will be disappointed with that backhand. It's not really what he'd be looking for. It's a good serve.
A bullet to close and come out of a dangerous spot there, Sean Hodkin. First breakpoint opportunities have come and gone, but we're still on serve here.
Time.
Well, we're going to see what Anton Matusevich is made of mentally here. He had a volley for the break. Sent it into the net. 7 games in, Hodkin still with his nose out in front. There's his favourite backhand cross.
Yeah, he's so good at that ball where he hits it close to the line and he's in at the net. It's that delayed approach. We'll see 4 or 5 of those during this match. He's very good at it. It sort of stops his opponent being able to just float the ball back as well. Even if Sean would have made that ball, Anton's at the net ready to chop a volley away.
Raced up to it. Was that the right shot choice from Matusevich?
No.
Very quick with that, Kelvin.
I've not got much more to say on that. That definitely wasn't. It's more that Anton doesn't really need to do that. He can dominate the points with big shots without doing that. He's made a first serve. He can get that backhand in and from a neutral situation.
Big point to win. Had to recover quickly there, Matusevich, behind the pickup down the line.
This is one of the things that people don't often recognise with Anton, because he's so strong that he can withstand power so well. If players go into him with pace, it normally affects players' contact points and their quality of hit. With Anton, he's so strong that he can just soak up pace and send it back with interest.
The reaction we heard from Matusevich after that previous point, do you think that was more pleasure with the level that he was able to produce, or a bit of frustration coming out from when he failed to break in the previous game?
A bit of both, I think, because Anton's not normally the type who gets the pump out so early. He's normally quite restrained and that type of thing, but yeah, it was interesting to see him doing that. See, there's the difference when I was talking about with Sean. You see Anton there, he's all over that ball, close to the line with power. Sean's had that ball a couple of times and he's just given Anton a look at the shot.
It looked more out.
Some discussion here. So they're replaying that point?
No, I think Sean was just asking the umpire whether he saw it in or out.
Right.
I think Sean called it in, but he was just asking the umpire whether it was the right call or not. And the umpire, I think the umpire might have said he saw it slightly out, but Sean had already made the call, so.
And that's what's important we saw last night in the match between Dan Cox and Mason Recchi. Recchi asked the question, but the umpire deemed that he hadn't made the call before he did so. And that's the kind of thing they've got to be thinking about out here.
Yeah, you've got to be assertive with those calls. If you start doubting yourself, then the umpire's going to favour the other guy. Ooh. Again, Anton would be disappointed with that. That's a volley that he would expect to make 9 times out of 10.
Well, the shrug might look like he doesn't care, but you can bank on it that he does. That same volley on the side of the court that he had at break point up, now it's putting break point down.
Come on!
Well, the reaction tells you everything there.
Anton was about a centimetre from being in a whole world of trouble there if that one would have gone over. But it's ifs and buts, doesn't matter. It's a good serve.
Getting on top of the baseline.
Advantage, Hodkin.
And I'm sure it's not at the forefront of Matusevich's mind right now. He just wants to survive this game. But if Hodkin breaks here, after being so close all the way down the wire, he'll be serving for the set. So this is a huge moment. Too close. But that one's long.
Wow. Wow. That one wasn't close either. That was quite a far bit long.
5 games to 3.
Well, the pressure was there, and he clearly felt it. Did not want to have to put a second serve in that position. So how the tables can turn only takes a couple of points to completely change the outlook. Here's Hodkin serving for the set.
Yeah, there we go, that backhand cross and into the net. He really does like that one. It's interesting though, 'cause I think, if I'm not mistaken, this might be the first time that Anton's been a breakdown in any set all week. So it's interesting to see how he responds to that.
And this can be the downside, can't it, to having been so dominant. You haven't tested yourself out under pressure. You don't know how you're going to respond. And it's more frustrating because you've been sailing.
Absolutely. That's a real chance for Anton. Really not a good volley from Sean there. I actually think he should have been in the net a shot earlier as well. He came in. He always tends to delay coming into the net, does Sean?
Once again, the athleticism of Matusevich on full display. The way he covered that baseline with such balance, great timing on his shots. He will be gutted to miss that final shot. Hodkin's so smart with his forehand direction there.
Yeah. 30, 15.
And the manner in which he lost the opening point of this game could have made him back off. It absolutely got pressed down on, but a couple of strong points from Hodkin. 2 points away.
Big, huge.
Skidded off the sideline.
But again, though, what we're looking at here is Sean's making a lot of first serves, but I still think even though he's in the lead, he's going to have to do a lot more with the third ball than what he's doing at the minute. He's getting big first serves, Anton getting the return back, and then they're into a rally again. Like Anton's attacking that ball 4, which shouldn't really be the case if Sean's made a first serve.
Drop of the racket from Matusevich. This is quite quickly run out of his grasp.
I think it's going to be quite frustrating for Anton as well that he's not getting a look at any second serves. He's not getting to start the point on the front foot, which is really credit to Sean.
What a rally. The pace just accelerating, and Hodkin on the last ball not able to match it, not quite having the control. The scoreboard says that Hodkin is a couple of points away. Does it feel like that?
No, it's very close. He's going to want to hit 2 first serves, and he's going to have to dominate from the first shot.
Straight in at the feet, that return.
Again, not a great serve there. I don't even know whether we call that wide serve. I don't think Anton really had to move much to that one. If you're going to do wide, if you're going to go wide to Anton's forehand, you've really got to get him to move outside the court.
Well, this is what he wanted, from set point down to break points up. Huge moment and pressure on Hodkin. Matusevich on top of it. A rocket to close. And he's right back in this set.
Yeah, Sean's really got to be trying to get into the net on that third ball there. Anton would have had a sort of shoulder height put away volley, and again he's really trepidatious. He doesn't really want to come to the net at all. It's going to affect him if that's going to continue.
Well, on the brink there, Hodkin had the chance for the set. Didn't quite have the pace in the forehand, but Matusevich from behind stepping up and shredding that ball. Is that going to make the difference, do you think?
Yeah, Anton's just got more in the neutral situations. He can turn neutral into attack quicker than what Sean's doing at the minute. Sean's going to have to take, he's going to have to take more risks than he's doing at the minute. He doesn't like being at the net, but he's going to have to come there. He can't just keep letting Anton float balls back, as we're seeing there. I think Sean maybe been into the net once, and that was in the first game so far. And he's not through lack of opportunity. He's getting chances. He just keeps retreating back behind the baseline. He's still in a good position, though. It's easy to think that he's lost the momentum, but if you were to offer both players whose situation they'd rather have at the minute, Sean would take his at 5-4 up.
Absolutely. Still the chance to break for it. And for the moment, it's still Anton Matusevich that is under all the weight of expectation.
Sean's pretty level-headed, though. It won't get to him that he's lost a set point there. He'll just play this point as normal.
Not much you can do about that, though.
No, but there we see the difference in what the two players are doing on ball 3. If that was from what we've seen from Sean, he'd have maybe sort of rolled one back in and gone back behind the baseline. Anton's all over it, clean winner.
And it's difficult, isn't it? Because as you pointed out earlier in the match, this is Matusevich's natural style of play, whereas Hodkin at the beginning of this had to come playing out of his comfort zone. And when that's the case, that's going to be difficult to maintain.
Yeah, totally. And again, there's that point again. Big first serve, big third shot. When I say ball 3, I mean that serves the first ball, serve the first shot, return, ball 3. Got a strange error there from Anton. He'll be disappointed with that. It's a sloppy one. He's not even going for anything on that one. It's just a rally ball that he's netted.
Better at 30 love than love 30.
Well, yeah, again, concentration error. That's when those sort of errors would normally come. Sean standing well behind the baseline on returning both first and second serves. Opens him up for that kind of serve as well.
Well, from 5-3, 40-30 down, Matusevich looking ready to level up. There it is.
Yeah, Sean will be really disappointed with that game. He didn't really test. Anton hit a couple of big serves and a couple of big follow-up shots, but Sean really didn't test him at all there. And again, we're going back to that. He's going to have to really stay on top of his strategy in this match to not revert back to the type of how he normally plays. Because I think if he plays this match how he normally plays, which is how most players have tried playing Anton this week, we've seen how that turns out. Anton hasn't lost a set.
Ooh,
there we go.
That's what you wanted.
Yeah, that's the kind of shot that he's got to follow up with. He's got it in his locker. He's a big lad. He's a strong lad.
He had that same ball earlier in the match and put it back into play this time, not letting play continue.
Yeah. An alternative way of playing Anton as well would be how we saw Jack Hawkins playing last week, with sort of a lot of drop shots, short slices, angles, but that's really not in Sean's sort of wheelhouse to do that. He doesn't like playing that way, so that's a difficulty for him. He's got a decent slice, but he doesn't really change the lengths up and that kind of thing to bring Anton in. So he's really just going to, we're now at the stage where he's just got to stay on top of his intent on every ball, to keep on attacking, keep on going after. If he gets a half chance, he has to go after it.
Hawkins, of course, the only player to beat Matusevich in the round-robin stage. Caught him in the first match. Probably the best time to play Matusevich, not this deep into an event. Key moments, getting on top of the ball, Matusevich.
15-30.
Yeah, again, we're on, Anton's there on top of the rally on ball 4. That's really something, Sean. He's got to cut those type of points out. He's got to take some risks, go after the ball a bit more.
He's not going to want to take risks at this point in time. Down on the scoreboard now.
It's a time to be brave, though.
When I said that, I meant he won't feel like it. You've got to put yourself out of that comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
It was a big second into the body, but Matusevich right on top of things.
Yeah, that's where we find the real sort of elite level players, their ability to stick to their plan when their mood has changed from when they set their plan. And I think what we saw from Sean is that early doors he was going a bit bigger, and now he's felt a bit tight. He's moved away from his plan and he's gone to a bit more of a reserved game style. That's a really good serve though there. Again, accurate, hitting the lines. That's what you've got to do against Anton, because if he gets a racket on it, even if a serve's coming through at 140 miles an hour, it comes back with interest.
He heard you say reserved game style there.
I hope he did, yeah.
Launched that one. One to save. That one ain't bad either.
He's been good, Sean, at making first serves on the big points. But again, I think Anton will be disappointed at that one, though. He had a racket on it, and I think he was a bit iffy whether to call it long or not. Chance now for Anton's second serve. I'd be surprised if we don't see him going after something big here. He's going to want to send a message to Sean. I think Sean knew that as well.
Yeah, that is very telling. Matusevich with another chance to break through.
What was interesting with that second serve there, though, was I don't really know what Sean was going for, because it's long and into the forehand. Even if that one would have gone in, it would have just given Anton a forehand to go after. Oh, it's a huge stroke it looks. That was going wide as well.
Well, it's a good thing that Anton Matusevich can laugh at that, because, boy, that net court has been mean at times this week. And it's always from this near side, for the record. Always from this near side. And
maybe a slanted there.
What a moment for that to happen. Saving break point. And with the form that Matusevich is in right now, the adrenaline he's riding.
He looks pretty relaxed, though. A really good serve from Sean there. This would be a big game if he can get out of this one.
Yeah, Matusevich won't be laughing at that serve. Too good.
Big game this now, big game. I would think if Anton can get a break here, I don't see him getting broken back when he's serving for the set. Sean's almost got a free hit at it if he can hold in the next game.
Well, we saw what happened earlier on in this set. Hodkin saved break points to hold and then broke in the very next game.
Yeah.
That's long. Matusevich putting the pressure on him to go for that bit more. His skills along the baseline, getting everything back with interest. Hasn't flinched here.
I think what we're seeing, though, is that Anton knows he's pretty comfortable in the knowledge that if he plays at his par level, it's going to be enough, whereas Sean's probably going to have to play a bit better than par to be able to get anything out of this match.
Oh, he'd nearly turned it back around with the depth of shot, but Matusevich is accelerating through that ball. And from 5-3 down, he's just a service game away from closing this set out.
Yeah, and again, I think what we see there from Sean is first serve in, and then he's just rallying back the third ball. It really is a determining factor in this match. You're not going to see Anton doing the same thing there. Anton's going to crush those balls. And it wasn't a bad return by any stretch, but it's going to be how quickly Sean responds to the situation now, because we're seeing that point over and over and over again, and it's whether he's aware of it while he's playing, and whether he can change his game, or whether he's willing to change his game, or whether he thinks that he can win doing what he's doing currently.
There's a huge underdog coming into this, Hodkin. It's easy to forget when you look at how they're trading blows that Hodkin doesn't currently have an ATP singles ranking, and Matusevich career high of 550. So even though Hodkin, 22 years older, there's a massive gulf here in terms of experience, and it just shows the quality and the level at this point of the game that doesn't often get a profile. We're trying to give it one here at the UK Pro League because it deserves it, and you can just see how, yeah, that like you've pointed out, you know, there are some differences, but that's why the rankings are there.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, Anton's heavy favourite, there's no question about that.
15 up.
And yet he's been kept so close here with set point down at 5-3.
What we'll see, though, is that Sean won't be affected by any of this. Mentally, he's pretty stable. He's not going to go away. He's going to keep doing what he's doing. He's going to keep his head up.
And that attitude is half the battle, right? So
Absolutely,
many people
yeah.
beat themselves.
Absolutely. Especially in the format that we're playing here, where it's a set, it's a tie-break third set. So he's still, even if that's really good from Sean. Yeah, even if whoever loses this first set, whoever loses the first set, they're still only a set and a tie-break away from winning the match. They're actually closer to winning the match than they were at the start of the match. At the start of the match, you need to win 2 sets. If you lose the first set, you need to win a set and a tie-break. So it's still very much open, whoever wins. Interesting situation now, though. Oh, it's so good from Anton, that. That's really good serve and the ability to guide that ball. Real clarity of thought that he can go back behind.
We read it brilliantly, didn't he? He had to do that so quickly, make the decision.
Yeah, really good hand skills.
2 points away. What a shot.
Phenomenal shot. So if we go back to the start of that point, short second serve from Anton, and Sean really just rolled it back in and got himself in a rally.
Well, to do this at 30-all backhand, trying to serve it out, that is absolutely huge.
Yeah, it's a cross-court winner off a ball from behind the baseline with no angle to work from. That's a phenomenal shot from Anton. That's not an easy shot to hit at all.
Ridiculous level. Here we go, set point. That will do it. From 5-3 down, he takes the opening set 2-5. Anton Matusevich, top-ranked man in the draw, out in front. Hi, Anton, it's Abigail. Can you hear me?
Hey, it's good. Yeah, hi.
Okay, cool. We're going to come have a chat with you after the break, all right?
No worries, sweet.
Cheers.
Can I go to the toilet after this? Yeah.
Well, quite the comeback in that opening set from Anton Matusevich. We're going to have a chat to him now. Anton, your thoughts on that first set, please.
I mean, pretty nerve-wracking match. Pretty tight in that first set. I don't think Sean just served pretty decent, and that's pretty much it. Both made quite a lot of errors. Yeah, I guess I got lucky in the 5-3 game. He didn't hit his spots in that game. You know, broke back and balls were dead a bit, so easier for me to return. And yeah, just happy to get through. I've choked the last 2 semi-finals against Billy in these events. So no, not that he's a bad player. He's actually a very good player, but just feeling pretty tight, but a bit looser now. So hopefully the second set can be a bit better, and hopefully from both of us get some better level on court for you guys and stuff. So yeah.
Well, we've been enjoying this one so far. Thanks, Anton. Good luck for the rest of the match.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Boy, he's hard on himself, isn't he?
Yeah, it was pretty. When he said he got lucky in the 5-3 game, I'm not sure there was much luck involved in that. He played a pretty good game to break back.
Well, it just shows the high expectations he has for himself. We talked often about Anton, the perfectionist, very into his studies and stuff off the court as well. You know, he did those, was it maths and further maths at A-level, and classically trained pianist, and all of this jazz that he's got going on alongside the tennis. You don't see players often able to keep that kind of stuff up alongside the career.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing a degree at UCL as well in some sort of. He told me what it was before the match, but it was way above my station, some sort of software engineering or that kind of thing. So he's a smart lad, there's no doubt about that.
Look at those first serve points won from Matusevich, 75%. But second serve points won, you said that was going to be the key stat. What are you thinking of this?
Yeah, there we go. I mean, anyway, if you're ever getting above 50% second serve points won, then you're doing pretty good. And Sean there at 37, that's not going to get the job done. But more relevant, I think, there is Sean serving at 82% first serve, and he's been broke twice. And that's what we're sort of talking about. Where is he really taking advantage of those first serves? And I think if he's going to pull this match back round, he's going to absolutely going to need to take more advantage of his big first serve when he gets it in. That's going to be the determining factor, I think, in the second set.
For a decent first serve percentage, you're kind of looking at late 60s, early 70s. How difficult is it going to be for Hodkin to maintain that kind of a high first serve percentage throughout this match?
Well, also the first serve percentage can often be a bit misleading as well, because that's what it is over the whole set. But I think if we looked, I don't know the exact stats, but if we looked at the game where he just got broke to lose the set, the game at 5-all, I think he was around about 50% in that game. He definitely had a drop-off in number of serves made. So I think it's all right being 80% overall in the set, but if you only serve at 50% in the game that you got broke, that's what you've got to look at.
Yeah, it's all about where the stuff comes.
Yeah, and taking advantage of it. I mean, you know, he's not doing, but an 82% first serve could suggest you're just rolling first serves in. And he's definitely not doing that. He's serving really well. It's the follow-up shot. He's got to just get an extra 10% on, I think, at the minute, in the third ball.
Well, he's had a little bit of time to think about things, Hodkin, between this set and the last one. And thanks to Matusevich serving that one out, here he is to get this one underway.
Second set. Hodkin to serve.
Nothing like starting a new set with a marathon exchange. That must be one of the longest rallies we've seen.
Yeah, and I think this is the difficulty for Sean, because in most matches he plays, he'd fancy himself to win the longer rallies. But strangely with Anton, because he's so big and so powerful, he doesn't make huge amounts of unforced errors either. Once he sets his sort of mind on rallying, he makes balls. And just as I say that, he's just missed the second serve return.
Made it.
Did he make it? I thought Sean put his finger out.
If he did, he was overruled.
Right.
He's going to keep going after them, isn't he, Matusevich? Particularly, you know, coming from 5-3 down, getting that 7-5 set, he's going to feel pretty unstoppable if he can make something happen here.
15, 30.
Yeah, and you only have to look at as well at the sort of position, the player positions when they hit their second serve returns. Sean's isn't really changing between first and second serve. He stood about 8 to 10 feet behind the baseline, whereas Anton on second serves there, he's charging the baseline. He's moving inside the baseline. He's going after it.
Well, the scoreboard can do funny things. I'm not sure that's a shot that Hodkin would have been missing earlier in this match.
No, he'd be disappointed with that. That's a really bad miss from Sean.
But the pressure that he's being put under by Matusevich, he would already have been scrambling across the baseline there. We've seen what he's done on the back foot throughout this match. That just makes it even tougher for Hodkin, who's double break point down here.
It was the right shot as well that Sean hit there. He had to take the drive volley. You've just got to make them. Yeah, see again there, Anton's 4 or 5 feet inside the baseline when he contacts that return.
What are the odds of this game going to deuce? More often than not, you know, at the beginning of a second set, you see it happen time and time again. Not to put any pressure on Hodkin here. He doesn't need more of it.
Sean's really got to find a way of breaking the momentum here, though. It's really, and Anton's won the last 3 games, sorry. No, 4 games.
I thought my maths was off.
Yeah, 4 games. He was 5-3 down, wasn't he? Oh, it's huge. It's huge.
Matusevich.
I mean, there's 2 great shots from Anton to end the point there, but we saw earlier Sean's really rinsed a backhand cross court. And if that's Anton, he's in at the net on that ball. And Sean's just let Anton float it back, and they're back in a neutral situation.
I'm sorry, but that finish is shell-shocking.
Yeah.
Phenomenal stuff from Matusevich. And the lethal combination of that backhand cross court, which he so loves, that gets him back into things with the angle so many times. And then the off forehand, when he's landing the mark on that, there's nothing that Hodkin can do there.
No, it's brutal, and I don't want to sound like I'm getting onto Sean too much. It's just that if you let Anton play his game, which he's doing now, he's so dominant and he's so difficult to pull back. So Sean really, he needs to ask himself the question, what is he trying to do in the points? If it's just to make balls and extend the rallies, you have to ask the question, well, is he winning any of those points when that happens? And he's sort of winning less and less, but he still looks pretty upbeat. He still looks got plenty of energy. He's in a good place. He'll know that this wasn't going to be easy for him. He knows he's going to lose serve a few times. So I'm just hoping to see him take a few more risks and go for a few more balls.
Interesting to see the difference between return positions there on the second serve. Matusevich a couple of paces inside the baseline, Hodkin a couple of paces behind. Why do you think there's a difference there?
Again, I don't think Sean's sort of changing it. It's the mindset that he has. He wants to get into rallies and play the point out. That's how he wins most of his points. That's how he wins most of his matches. He grinds his opponents down.
Sure.
But he's up against a higher level of opponent here. That's not going to work. It's also, I'll say this as well, caveat it with it, that it's easier for the two-handed backhand player to move inside the baseline. If you look at the players who start standing way behind the baseline, Wawrinka, Team, They're one-hand backhands, and it gives the one-hander a bit more time to go after it. But that's what Sean needs to understand. If he's going to stand back there, he's got to go after that second serve as well. Whereas at the minute he's standing back there and rolling it in.
40 low.
And it's giving Anton the opportunity. It's giving so much freedom for Anton. He can hit the wide serve and take Sean out of it. And he knows that even if he goes tee and Sean gets a racket on it, he's going to have plenty of time to hit a big third ball on it. Oh, it's huge. It's just phenomenal hitting from Anton, that.
Once he's on a roll, he's at times untouchable, Anton Matusevich. And you've got to give Hodkin credit. He's staying upbeat. We see him bouncing on his toes, staying positive. He hasn't lost his temper. He hasn't got negative. But something has to change to stop Matusevich in this kind of a rhythm, because he's getting back into the kind of form that we saw during his match against Cox, where he was just nailing winners from all areas of the court.
Yeah, if you play Anton at this type of game where you're playing in straight lines, you're going baseline to baseline with him, I'll stick my neck out and say he'll beat anyone in the country. And I include Andy Murray, Dan Evans, Cam Norrie in that. But they wouldn't play like that against him. But his power, I mean, as we see there, it's just devastating power. He can't... He can just create, he can generate power from nothing, and it's just phenomenal hitting.
Can we take a moment to appreciate the ridiculousness of that return? It was next to Hodkin, but it was so fast, lightning quick, that he couldn't get a racket on it.
Yeah, I think Anton, I'd say he probably hits the ball harder than anyone else in British tennis at the minute. Maybe Andy Murray at full strength on a backhand would be able to cope with it, and Kyle Edmund probably, but Kyle's injured at the minute. But there's no one in British tennis who hits the ball harder than Anton Matusevich does at the minute. The trick is to take him into places where he can't just swing and hit big balls.
And with how good a mover he is as well, that's really difficult to do, because how do you unbalance him?
Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. It's not just his power on the attack that helps him out. It's his strength on return. Sometimes you're hitting huge shots into him and he's sending them back with interest. It's like almost like trying to break into Fort Knox with a pellet gun. You just can't penetrate him at all. That's why you need to sort of have variation on it. You need some short slices, some angles to take him out, open the court up. If you're going to try and hit through him in straight lines, you won't be able to do that.
Another tight spot here for Hodkin. Just getting pushed further and further back. It's relentless from the other side of the net.
Yeah, Sean's going to have to change something up here. We're seeing the same point after point after point at the minute.
Here we go. Double break point for the double break. And Matusevich looking comfortable. Hodkin needs some big first serves here.
There's one.
He definitely heard that one. So one saved in style. And that just shows you how chill Matusevich is right now, having a little grin at it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It's really good from Sean. Two good first serves, both on the line.
And that's that brilliant attitude showing itself again. He's kept so positive out here, so upbeat.
Yeah, very resilient character. Anton be disappointed with that return, though.
Advantage, Hodkin.
He's such a fascinating character on court. He goes from big smiles and shrugs to having a little chat to himself.
He's playing the game right here, though. He's a break-up, and he's consolidated with a hold. He can take a few risks. It doesn't matter if some of them don't come off. He's right to have a swing at that one.
Four big first serves from Sean Hodkin when he most needed them. See him across the line in a crucial service game. He stays in touch, but it's Matusevich with the break.
Time.
So Hodkin got the must-hold service game in the bag from break points down. Great resilience from him, but it is on Anton Matusevich racket still, a set and a break up.
It's the first time that Sean's really been able to break the momentum for a while, so it's going to be interesting to see how Anton responds to that. It's the first time he's won a game point in about 20 minutes as well, so that's a big one for Sean to sort of be able to carry that and know he's still very much in the match.
Of course, hadn't won a game since he was serving for that opening set. And with the way Matusevich likes to play fast, do you think that really whizzed past Hodkin the past few games?
Yeah, that's a really interesting dynamic because the two of these are complete opposites in that regard. Anton, he's just wanting to get on with the next point straight away, get on with the next game straight away. Sean he likes to really take his time in between games. He likes to take his toilet breaks between sets, that kind of thing.
Well, where did that service game go? Quick as a flash.
Yeah, and this is where the pressure really is on Sean. He's got a little bit of respite in that he held serve after being under pressure, and sort of 30 seconds go by and now the pressure's right back on him. He's got to hold again.
Well, really, when it's on Matusevich racket at the moment, it's untouchable. And Hodkin at the moment, he's got to be so focused just on his own side of the net, doing his bit to stay in touch, because when Matusevich, as we've kind of alluded to, when he's in this kind of form, you just need him to drop off a bit.
Yeah, and still, at this level, at any level, I'd be surprised if there isn't a half chance for Sean at some stage, a 30-all or a 15-30, if he can hold his own serve. If he can hold his own serve, then he'll get a half chance. I'm certain of that.
And that is why it's so important to just stay in the moment, point by point.
And as we were saying, Sean's still... Anton's a set and a break up, but Sean's still sort of 25 minutes away from potentially winning the match, because all he has to do is win this set and get into a tiebreak.
Yeah, that match format makes such a difference mentally.
Whereas if it's a normal three-set match, he's still probably looking at another hour and 10 minutes out there to grind out another set after this one.
Oh, well, the first net cord came from Matusevich, and the second for Hodkin. Not so fortunate.
Yeah, again, that's huge there. Sean really landed a big blow on the point before that. And I wonder whether Anton's little move put him off slightly there.
Yeah, sometimes you have too much time on the ball, almost.
Yeah. He looked a bit indecisive. Wow.
What can you do when he's up there like that?
15-30.
At his mercy.
Yeah, concern for Sean will be that Anton's reading the second serve now as well. He looked like he picked that one while it was still up in the air.
Well, these are crucial moments for Sean Hodkin. That 5-3 advantage is going to feel like years ago. That was well redirected. He had to stand so firm there, didn't he, to take the power, redirect.
Yeah, that's where Sean's strength really helped him out. He's really got a strong base, and you see there, it's pretty much just all forearm. That there's no backswing, no follow through. The little bunt with the forearm.
You could tell from Matusevich reaction, quality shot there, but
Another big game.
Yeah, he's going to need another hit. And you just knew that Matusevich was going to tee off on that.
30-40.
He's right in his comfort zone. Hodkin trying to use the angle, but boom. To bed.
Yeah, you look, Anton's there. He's 6 foot behind the baseline there, and he's hit a clean winner.
Unreal.
It's phenomenal hitting.
Well, here's a break point for that double break lead. And actually, if he can hold a tougher service game here, Hodkin, that might be his best shot at stalling some momentum for Matusevich, building a bit of frustration.
Absolutely. That's what Sean's focus has really got to be on now, just trying to take the momentum away from Anton, try and get 3 points in a row.
Advantage, Hodkin.
Well, that'll help.
There was a stat that came out last year that the player, I think there was 5,000 matches, and the player that won the most blocks of 3 points in a row won every single match. There was no deviation from that, so that's how we gauge momentum.
We had to try and do something when the second serve return, for once, hadn't been ripped to shreds.
No, I think that was a good sign from Sean there, even though he lost the point. He went for that second serve a little bit more, and he went after the third shot. I'm on board with that. If he misses some, fair enough. That's how, if he's going to get back into the match, that's how he's going to get back into the match. Again, there we go. He's taking advantage of that third ball there.
Advantage, Hodkin.
Maybe he's heard me waffling on about it for the for the last hour.
Well, right in the corner, quite the moment for the precision, and it's never too late until the close of match point, of course, but still really the early stages of the second set. If Hodkin can get the great game here, that's
Good
enough.
game. Good game.
Once again, Hodkin rising up under pressure, keeping himself on the scoreboard and in touch in this second set.
Time.
Anton Matusevich has been free-flowing out here on court 1, but a couple of opportunities missed to get the double break lead. Sean Hodkin with a great attitude out here, and we'll just see if he can get inside his opponent's head.
The first point in the game is so important in these situations, and Anton's managing to win the first point nearly all the time. I can't think of maybe one occasion when Sean went 15 up, but just releases the pressure valve so much if you can get that first point.
Dead net cord. Yeah, I'll take that. Setting a breakdown. I think Matusevich can live with that. Oh, we'll see, though. We will see.
Yeah.
After a dead net cord, that was a key point to win.
Yeah. And what we see from Anton as well is he has this brutal power, but he doesn't do it every shot, which makes it seem even more brutal when he unloads it. That one there, just a couple of... They're still big shots, but they're not full-out battering rams like we've seen at some times. And it's difficult for the opponent because you never really know when it's coming.
Redirected that one brilliantly, changing up the direction of the rally.
Yeah, that's the kind of point he's going to have to play. Just changing it up, just doing something different than standing at the back and hoping Anton misses.
And that's not how he was playing at the beginning of the match. He came out high intensity, but with it being out of his comfort zone, with it not being as usual, was going to be difficult to sustain that. And Matusevich just kept himself in that opening set long enough to find the opening.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good time to produce that combination. Hodkin's positioning far back behind the baseline. He tried it earlier, and there wasn't so much distance.
Yeah. That's a really good drop shot as well there. He's really sort of... Even if Sean would have been a little bit closer in, it would still have been a pretty good drop shot, that one. Sean didn't really get anywhere near it.
Well, more of the same from Anton Matusevich, but it makes a bit more of a difference on the scoreboard this time. With every game that he wins, he's one big step closer to getting this done in straight sets.
There couldn't be much difference between the two players' clothing today, could there really, with Sean's?
Yeah, if you had a crowd of 100 tennis players, you wouldn't miss Anton Matusevich, let's put it that way.
It's the old Agassi style from the early 90s.
Bringing it back.
Yeah, you've got to have a lot of confidence. You've got to have a lot of game to wear that T-shirt, I think. Good serve again from Sean. His serve's definitely picked up a bit in the last two games.
And notably, it's coming, I mean, love 15 there, but he's been down break points, etc., and that's when he's brought the biggest ones.
He's keeping Anton guessing as well. He's not gone into a rhythm. Anton doesn't really know where the first serve's going. The second serve he's been on top of a bit more. The thing is as well in men's tennis especially that once you've gone past the sort of fifth or sixth shot, the serve has then become irrelevant. You're then into a neutral rally, And I think that that's what Sean's got to be aware of, that he's losing one of his biggest weapons in his serve if he doesn't take advantage within the first sort of 3 or 4 shots on his own racket. Oh, he's nearly made that
Well,
one.
full credit to Sean Hodkin for extending that rally. I think Matusevich will see it as a bit of justice that his net cord went in. But, well, this turned into quite the exchange. Comes at a big moment, though. Once again, Matusevich just applying the pressure on the return.
He's at 30 all in every single service game, and Anton's sort of having a bit of a free run on that in that regard. Just builds up such pressure on Sean.
He's just jumping on these early balls behind the return, Matusevich.
Yeah, sort of mentally it means that Sean never feels comfortable in the match. He always feels like he's sort of walking into a gale force wind all the time. There's no let up for him. Even on Anton's service games, their last one was a bit longer, but we had that one a couple of games ago where it lasted about 30 seconds. So it just feels like a constant pressure on Sean, and you've got to give Anton credit for that. He's really keeping the pressure on. He's probably played 7 or 8 sloppy points in the whole match.
Pivotal moment. He's faced break points before, none like this one. And the pressure tells. That's a shame for Sean Hodkin. He's been so resilient, but Anton Matusevich just kept pushing. After this change of ends, he's serving for the match.
Time.
Well, Anton Matusevich in 5 round-robin matches did not drop a set. And he lost his semi-final in week 1 of the tournament, but he's looking to make sure that doesn't happen again. Here he is, having trailed 5-3 in the opener, now serving for a straight sets win. Not over yet, though, for Sean Hodkin. Double breakdown on the scoreboard now. Maybe he can just swing. Well, did that bounce?
That was a very strange shot, that was. Couldn't really quite see what happened there.
I think that barely lifted off the ground. Matusevich has lethally flattened out some of these shots.
$30-15.
one's long.
40-15.
Relentless depth and weight of shot from Anton Matusevich. We've seen it from the first point, and it looks like he's going to keep it up to the last. Double match point. And that will seal it. Anton Matusevich into the final, yet to drop a set during week 2 of the UK Pro League. He has been in absolutely stunning form, and he shows no sign of stopping. How impressive was that, Calvin?
Yeah, it's very, very impressive. It's phenomenal tennis that Anton's bringing this week. It's disheartening for the opponents because he's just blowing them away. Then he's not really giving a sniff or any sort of indication where they can get in. And yeah, you can't credit the guy enough, to be honest. And Sean there, for almost a full set, he really lived with him. He had a set point in the first set, but Anton just seemed to turn it up a level. Once he got his foot back in the door at 3-5, he never really looked back. He was completely dominant from that stage onwards. And he's so difficult. The pressure it puts on the opponent is that they have to change their game, their preferred game style, because if most of the players, if they're bringing their own game style, which in this tournament is to be sort of pretty solid from the back of the court, he's going to blow them away.
Look at that number of breakpoint opportunities for Matusevich. Yeah, he didn't convert a lot of them, but he converted enough. And those first serve sets just dominant.
Yeah, we see the second serve points won there as well. Anton with 53, which is very good. Sean down at 27. You're going to struggle to win a tennis match with that kind of percentage points won on second serve. Especially when he's serving at 71% first serves. That's pretty good.
Big time tennis from Anton Matusevich. No one wants to face him in the final. One of Dan Cox or Mark Whitehouse will have to. They're facing off later on. 2 losses during week 1, but none during week 2 so far for Matusevich. Going to hear from him very shortly. He'll be speaking to Jenny Drummond.
Tough first set. What did you think when you were set point down there?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. Sorry.
I said, congratulations, that was a great win, but a tough first set. What did you think at that point when you were set point down?
Just thought make a return in the court, and I thought I was better than him in the rallies. I thought he served pretty decent, so making a first serve return or second serve return is a huge advantage for me. So I just thought, look, make some returns and hopefully I'll be all right. So yeah, I was pretty tight first set. I played 2 of these before. I made semis, and I lost to Billy in both of them in 3, so I was a bit nervous. But I'm happy to get through it, so it was good. Yeah.
Well, your form this week has been absolutely unbelievable. You haven't yet dropped a set.
No.
What do you put that down to?
I slept pretty good. I have a nice hotel room, so I get to chill out and get my own time watching some good detective series. So it's nice and chilled. Not much really. I think preparation from last week especially. You get used to the court's conditions, and came out this week, thinking let's just try my best and try to win some matches. It's it's a great tournament as well to get some matches in. Because there's COVID, lockdown and stuff. Tough to get abroad, so it gives an opportunity for all the Brit players to just play and compete against each other, which is really cool. So.
How much have you learnt from that week 1 to week 2? Because obviously you mentioned, players haven't been playing very much. Week 1 could be quite difficult. You're the top ranked player in the men's draw as well, lost in that semi-finals. What did you bring into the second week?
I went home. I did a bit of training at NTC, saw the physio, just tried to improve on some little shots. Probably third ball off the serve, so when you serve and then your next strike is quite important. If you can get advantage on that. And I've started to come forward a bit more. I think it's quite effective on these courts because the ball's quite low, and it's just you just have to get in, play some volleys, mix it up, not just keep going from the back. Because what happened with Billy last time was that he was just really solid and he just sliced, and I just kept trying to hit winner. But if I just closed off a volley, it would have been much easier. So start coming to the net more this week, and it's been working pretty good. So yeah.
Yeah, well, Anton, I have to agree with that. You've been hitting some sublime shots. Very well done. You're into the final tomorrow.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank
awesome.
You.
See you tomorrow,
Gigi, Salmon, come on in because we want to chat a little bit more about that match. I just discussed with Anton there, that was a pretty tight opening set, and credit to Sean Hodkin, he played some great tennis, was just 1 point away on his serve from taking it. How crucial was that?
Yeah, it was massive, and it was such an opportunity for Sean against Anton, who said to you there that he felt tight, and when we spoke to him at the end of the first set, he said, I was really tight and I was really nervous. So Sean Hodkin got himself into a really good position, but Anton Matusevich just has a little bit more. They talked about in commentary from that neutral position to be able to turn it into attack at the flick of a switch, which we saw. And to get to this stage, we talked about this with Emily Appleton in the first week. She dropped a set in her semi-final. He has yet to drop a set through 6 matches. And also interesting, talking about what he's learned from week 1 and what he's brought into week 2, which is working.
Exactly. His shots making has just been unbelievable. He's looking super confident, and again, we'll be looking super confident tomorrow.
Yeah, no, he absolutely will be. We talked about this a little bit at the start of the match. Does he feel the pressure? And it's strange with his game style. You wouldn't think he was as nervous as he seems to be, and he's talked about in week 1 where he felt the pressure again. There will also be pressure on him again in the final now because he hasn't dropped a set, and they're going to be coming to this. It could be Dan Cox, it could be Mark Whitehouse thinking, well, hang on a second, we've got an opportunity. He keeps telling us that he's tight in these situations, so he will know that he'll have to get off to a really good start in Sunday's final.
Yeah, well, how much are you looking forward to that final? Because if Anton continues the way he's been all this week, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it is. The level of tennis that he's showing is great, and that's what we so enjoy about the UK Pro League. And as they're saying, the opportunity to get this many games and to play at this level during the situation that we find ourselves in, whoever he faces, it's going to be a cracking final.
Absolutely, Gigi. Well, we can confirm that Anton Matusevich is the first man into the final, but coming up very shortly, we are going to take a look at the first women's semi-final. Join us after this.